Hello everybody, this is Heather and I'm back with another video. Today I'm sharing episode 1 of a mini-series I just started, and it is called my photo transfer mini-series, I guess. I didn't think of a special name for it. But here you can see I'm cutting up a transparency. So in this series, I'm going to be sharing several different ways to do photo transfers. I'm only using, I guess, one way to do them, but there are many ways to do them. But I'm showing you different techniques to use them for, I suppose. So you can see I printed off some images as well as some brush strokes. That is one of Jen Schow's free printables found on her shop, so you should go check that out for sure. I'll link that below directly to this brushstroke printable. It's actually meant to be a cut file, but I just placed it in Microsoft Word and then changed the color from black to this teal color. And I'm going to be using this regular gel in semi-gloss to start this first transfer. Some things about photo transfers. I'm still new and I'm still experimenting with them, but basically I haven't gotten a very clear image yet. So what I like to use them for is sort of a distressed image look. If that's something that you like, then I definitely recommend trying this. There are ways to get a clear image transfer, but it's a little bit harder and takes a lot of practice. It depends on the materials you use and the timing of everything. So I definitely recommend playing around with it before you go and put it on maybe a masterpiece canvas. So that's what I like to do in my art journal. I just am not worried about making mistakes because I love just trying out new things in my art journal. So as you saw, I put a fairly thick layer of this gel on, and I dried it a little bit with my heat tool, which I later find out isn't the best idea, so I don't recommend doing that. I thought maybe it would work well if it was tacky. So basically what I've done is I've printed some images and brush strokes onto a transparency that I purchased at an office supply store, and it's like an overhead transparency. It got a rough surface on one side and a smooth surface on the other, and what you want to do is print on the rough surface, and I just use my regular inkjet printer. It works perfectly fine. I don't think this works with a laser printer, so I don't know, you can let me know. As you see, I just peeled it off and I didn't get a very clean transfer at all, so I'm applying some more gel to those areas that I want more ink to come off of, and then I'm just going to place this back on top. And I found that if I just put it on while it is wet and then let it dry completely, it really grabs the ink on the transparency better. So I'm using this pen, it's just the end of a pen, and I'm rubbing the transparency in hopes that the ink will transfer, and I'm peeling it off. I didn't wait for it to dry there, I lied. But you can see a lot more ink came off, so I'm pretty happy with that. As far as the brush strokes go, it's a good look for me. If it was a photo, it wouldn't be very clear, but I'm happy with this. So now it is completely dry, and I'm just going to Mod Podge some layers on top here. One of my favorite things to do is use this tissue paper, and it's actually a vintage sewing pattern that has been used before. So I'm just ripping pieces off. So it has some print on it, which I really like, and I like to wrinkle it up a little bit to give the page some texture, and I'm just layering different pieces on top of each other because I like how that looks and it's just fun to do. My art journal mantra is really, there are no rules to this, and if you've watched my art journal videos or mixed media videos before, you may have heard me say that. I truly believe that there's no rules. It's just for fun. It's for playing, trying out new things. If you want to try this technique, please feel free, but I hope you understand that every technique I show you, yours will come out completely different, and if I tried it again, it would again come out completely different, and that's part of the fun of it, I believe. So don't worry if your page doesn't look just like mine or anyone else's, because it's your own unique creation anyway. and I think that's important to remember. So, as you saw, I just added some gesso on top just to add a little bit more layering and give it some depth. And now I'm mixing up some yellow watercolor paint and just plopping that on top. I don't think my layers are dry here, and I just like the way that it mixes with the gesso and the Mod Podge that I've used, and it just creates a fun look. So again, try experimenting with whether your layers are dry or wet, and it will just come out with a different look every time. I'm adding some green as well to give the page a bit more pop. This is something pretty colorful for me. I typically have more muted colors, but I like the way this is turning out. So as you saw, I just splatted some green paint on there as well, and I do that by loading my paintbrush with a thick wet paint. Not thick paint, but like a lot of paint and wet. So here I'm just showing you a close-up of what it looks like right now with all those layers, and it was pretty simple to achieve. So here I'm going to show you another photo transfer on this page, and this is one that I want to stand out a bit more instead of fade into the background. So I'm just applying some gesso there in quite a thick layer, and then I'm using a paper towel to sort of blend out the edges because I didn't want it to be too stark. The photo that I've selected is a winter scene in our front yard, and I know that it won't come out super clear, but I really like the way that the sun is shining through the trees there, and in the transfer it actually captured that pretty well, so I'm happy with that. Here I'm using the regular gel in semi-gloss, and throughout this series I will experiment with different mediums. I've also used soft gel in gloss as well as Mod Podge to transfer images, so you can look forward to that. I guess I should probably mention these will be posted consecutively for the next 3 Fridays. So it's a series of 3. This is the first one, and you can expect the next 2 in the next 2 weeks. So I'm placing my photo on here and just pressing down very firmly, making sure there's no bubbles underneath my transparency. And the gel is quite thick and wet, and I'm just smoothing that out. And if some oozes out the edges, that's fine. I just wipe it away with my fingers. And I'm going to let this dry pretty much completely. I'm about to peel it off here, but I probably could have waited a bit longer. But I am actually really happy with how this looks. It peeled up in that area that I'm touching up right now, but the ink basically stayed, and I just was able to smooth it out a little bit. So you can actually tell that this one is a photo. This is probably the clearest photo transfer that I do in this series. The others are a bit more blended, I guess, but I have some really cool techniques coming up. So now I have let that dry fully, and I'm going to embellish the page with some washi tape. And I like to add sort of a lot of depth and layers to my pages, so washi tape, in this case, I'm using it as a final layer on top to add interest and a focal point, which is important to my pages as well. I just use a series of several different patterns, but as you can see, the colors match really well, and it doesn't detract from the page. If I had used super bold, contrasting ones, I probably wouldn't have gotten the look I wanted, because I do want the photo transfer of that image to stand out. And I've got these 2 word stickers that coordinated with the colors perfectly. It just so happened. So I'm just placing those on the page as well and sticking them down. I probably should have added some adhesive underneath these because there's so many thick layers, but that's okay. And next up, I'm just going to take a regular brush and some ink. The ink is Speedball, and I got this from Michael's. And it comes in different colors, but I'm just going to brush letter a word, beauty, on here, and that sort of provides the focal point of this page as well as a title. And overall, I like how this turned out. I've had a lot of fun experimenting with my photo transferring, and I hope that you are able to check out my next 2 videos in this series. I will be posting on Tuesdays as usual as well, but you can expect the next 2 videos on Friday. The next 2 Fridays. Oh, to finish this off, I'm just adding some bling, and that's gonna be about it. So I hope you check me out on my blog. I will have more detailed photos there, and I hope you come back for the next 2 videos in this series. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and please let me know what you think of my page. Take care.